Hi everybody. Today we are going to make a grisaille painting of our still life setup. So at this point you should have chosen your objects based on some sort of theme or story or whatever. You're going to see my still life here. Actually, I have it set up right here. I have chosen objects that make, I guess they're objects that I like to use if I go out, which obviously I'm not doing a lot lately because of the pandemic, but I have my little ring here, my necklace, some perfume bottles, this little purse. I am not gonna paint the Brooklyn Bridge as part of the still life. And then I have two dresses in the background that are serving as like a drapery. So just because like I'm not gonna paint, I don't wanna paint the window and the computer and all that. I want it to be like a nice drapery background. So that's how I have it set up. I made 5 thumbnail sketches. I chose which thumbnail composition I thought was the strongest, and I made a oil pastel rough draft of my still life setup. I also want you to, I asked you to print your, take a picture of it because I want to see what you're drawing or painting. And ideally you would have like maybe a printout of it. I printed mine because this is the composition that I chose. The problem is though, and this you should be careful with, when I took the photo and I printed it, the camera was lower than my eye view. So like when I'm looking at the still life, I see the tops of the bottles, which I actually really like. So I have added that into my painting, and I'm gonna use this for some sort of references, but like maybe the way the light is hitting it, but I'm really not gonna use this paper much at all. So I'm gonna paint from life, still life, that's our plan. So in this class, we're gonna do a grisaille underpainting. So that just means it's gonna be, we're going to use the burnt umber and the white. As you can see, I have this on my palette. We're gonna make some different values of the two together, and we're gonna paint it in just black and white. So I have started, just because, you know, it took me a while to sort of draw it out. I did that ahead of time. So I just, with paint, I sketched out my still life. So I wanted to make sure I have a dynamic composition. It is addressing, it's activating the edges of the canvas. There's some diagonals going on. There's overlap of my objects. There's going to be some shadows. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know exactly. I haven't decided which color scheme I'm going to paint it. It looks like blacks and magenta and blue are going to be my, I mean, that's sort of local colors, but I think they're working for my setup. So I have drawn it out with paint first. Just to sort of lay it out. Now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add the dark areas, the light areas, and the mid-tones, and it's gonna be almost like a finished painting in black and white. It will take me a couple hours to do this, and I don't know that I'm gonna make like a 2-hour video. Who knows, maybe I'll be inspired. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that because the light, it's like 6 o'clock here, and the light is gonna go away in like an hour. So I'm gonna paint until the light is gone. So, all right, feel free to paint along if you are at that stage. And next week when we meet, we are going to put glazes of color over our grisaille painting. This is like a technique that the old masters used. And looking for my medium. There are different kinds of medium. This is a gloss medium. This is a matte medium. There's also a medium that is called glazing medium. Any of those would work when we're making our glazes. You can also just mix water into the acrylic paint. It doesn't work as well, especially with these paints that we have. So each of these costs like $5 or $6. You can get them at Blick, you can get them on Amazon, you can get them at Michael's. Maybe you have these already. If you're coming in person to class, I can give it to you. I'm not gonna give you the whole bottle, but we can use it in class. And then if you are a remote person, You can use water if that's your only choice. If you can get a hold of some sort of medium, glazing medium, gloss medium, matte medium, then I think it would actually be even better if you could do that. Don't get gel medium. Gel medium is when you want to like make some thicker textures, and we're not gonna do that. So, all right, let's make our grisaille painting. Let me angle this down towards oh my goodness, what's going on here? Okay. All right, can you see my painting and my palette? Yes. All right, I have my water, I have my still life. My desk is not very big. I'm sure yours isn't either, so. All right, I'm gonna start by putting the darks in. And so, in looking at my still life, I wonder if you can see my still life at the same time I'm painting. Let me see here. Oh, that's a weird angle. I hope that's okay. I can see that obviously this background is dark, so I'm just gonna go in and go for it. This whole area is dark. We're just using one color. I mean, you could probably use a lot of underpaintings. You don't have to use burnt umber, but it's what the old masters use, so we're gonna practice using that. I am addicted to color, so personally, if I wasn't showing you this technique, I would probably use a different color. Actually, the last time I really used an underpainting with an oil painting, if you take advanced painting and you have me, I'm going to teach you this technique that's really cool. I used alizarin crimson and it came out so beautiful. With that technique, you cover the whole canvas. I'm going to use a bigger brush. With that technique, you cover the whole canvas with the color, and then you take a rag and you wipe away the light areas. It's a very cool technique. I like to sort of get like a general color on first. You know, you gotta know the glazes are transparent colors, right? So I have this on here right now, but if you look, it's not very even, you know what I mean? Because I just sort of sloppily like threw it on there. The glaze is clear, so you can imagine that this the texture that's under it is gonna show up a little bit. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit neater and go over it. I might put another layer of this color on later because that area is black and I want it to be black. What to do about this handbag? I'm not painting the Brooklyn Bridge on there, it's too much. So if this background, so okay, so right now it's like a magenta dress, right? But I'm not gonna paint it magenta right now. We're just painting the tones that we see. And it is considered at this point a mid-tone. So I can mix it. I can either add less water or I can mix it with some white. So I'm gonna mix it with some white. And well, you know what? I gotta say, it'll be fine. I'm gonna paint it like this. It's a mid-tone. Some colors, like if I wanted this to really be like a very bright magenta, I might want to add it on top of a white, but I'm gonna paint it a mid-tone right now anyway, because there is a shadow on a lot of it. This whole, oh, this is kind of interesting. So this whole area here is the mid-tone, but this, I painted this line, but technically the line is the light part because there's a reflection on the necklace. So it's okay. Figure it out. I big part of this is getting the composition down. It'll make painting the other layers easier, and not just figuring out the composition on the canvas, but it's also a very it's important to figure out where your darks and lights are to make sure that you have a balance of a balanced range of values. You know, we don't want our painting to be all super dark or all super light or all just mid-tones. We want the eye to go all over, because there's like light areas and dark areas, and there's a variety, you know? So doing it this way too, we can see like, oh wait, I have way too many midtones. How can I fix that? Some people actually make black first, which would be to mix blue and the burnt umber. I'm just going in straight with the burnt umber and white. It makes it a very warm brown color, which is fine. So I'm basically trying to get a layer of paint on the whole canvas before I start doing any kind of details, because it's possible that I lay it all out and then I don't like it. Like, I might have to adjust something, and then if I have details on there, then it was sort of a waste of time putting the details on. Okay. Okay, there's the necklace. This whole area back here is gonna be this mid-tone, because it still is the what do you call it? That magenta color dress. Add more white. If your painting gets very saggy, if the canvas actually starts to sag, the way to tighten it up is to, after painting is dry, take your painting to, you could do this with an oil paint too, actually. You could take your painting over to the sink. I just take my hands and I put water on it. I rub it on the whole back, and then I take a towel and dry it. And then as it dries, the canvas dries, it tightens it up again. So if it's too loose, I mean, the canvas is a little cheap, so it kind of came loose. I might do that after I'm done here. Also, this should be a thin layer. You don't want there to be a lot of brush strokes, because you know you're gonna put the glazes over the top. And then these strappy things are a dark tone, so I'm gonna make those dark. this line in here is going to be dark. And then it's like the question, do I make this thing dark? I kind of like that it's light, because there's nothing else in here that's really light. But I should have thought of this ahead of time. I mean, I kind of like that the background is dark and then these straps are dark. If I made that dark too, let me see, it might be too much. I think I'm gonna make it dark, but not as dark as the background. Like it will be, or maybe I should make it lighter than this, but not. Well, actually, I'm gonna start by making it light. And if I want to make it dark later, you know, artist choice, I can do that. Because it's easier to make it light and then turn around and make it dark, and then it is harder to make it lighter after you've made it very dark. So. Painting is so fun. Wish I could just paint all the time. You know, I said I wasn't gonna paint the Brooklyn Bridge, but I might actually put a sort of like an abstract hint of the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, now that I think about it, A, because I like Brooklyn, and B, because I think maybe it does need some more dark over here to balance out the dark over there. So I'm gonna take some of this and make it not as dark as the straps, but dark. And then let's see, the bridge goes about to here. Goes down. To about here. This middle part is like to here. Oh, it goes like to here and then down. It's in perspective, so it follows this line and this line. The top is here. This bottom line goes to like here. Oh, I just noticed I forgot to put that dark thing in there. This thing would be up here. I think I have the proportions very good here. This is much taller than it is there. It's this wide. It's tall. Oh, it's tall, but not that tall. Okay, it's gonna go down here. So like I said, we're just like laying it out to start with, and then we're gonna go back and add the details. So. Also, I didn't talk about this, but when I was drawing it earlier, there were things like if I drew it wrong, I just took water and wiped it out. It didn't totally erase it in some places, but the water, if it's still wet, you can take that and then you take a paper towel and then just sort of like rub off the paint. If it's dry, obviously it doesn't work that well, but you can always like paint over stuff too. So. Okay. Okay. Now this thing, it's like ever changing because of the light. I'm changing brushes to a little bit smaller brush. And this side is darker. Is there. There's like a highlight of white. The top is dark, but not as dark as the background. So the top is like a circle here. I'm gonna go back and add the details of like the highlights and stuff later, but like I said, I'm just sort of getting like a layer of paint on the whole canvas. This side is a little darker. The top here is dark because of the light. It's a little bit lighter over there. This side is darker. There are reflections of light though, so I'm going to leave parts of the light. I'm not going to do the writing. It says Kai, but I'm not going to write Kai on there. And then, oh, okay. So this ring is very dark. That's moonstone part of it. It's very dark. There's so many interesting highlights on here and shadows that it's kind of like, it's very detailed, and I might save that for last once I make sure that this is in the right proportion. always a good idea to figure out if it's lighter or darker when it's compared to what it's next to. So like in my perspective, the bottle is darker than the ground, than the dress that it's sitting on. So it's important to, you know, it's all, I mean, that's what a lot of like drawing and painting is, right? It's all about like comparing it to whatever's next to it. Is it bigger? Is it smaller? Is it darker? Is it lighter? It's all about like perspective. What does it look like? It might not, in real life, it might not be darker or lighter. It might not be bigger or smaller, but it's like, what does it look like to you? And then you draw or paint what you see, you know? In this area, it's a little lighter. Not light, but lighter than the bottom. This line here, the bottom, the base of the cap, and in here it's actually darker. It's darker here. Kind of cool. I can't wait to put color on this because this blue bottle, like when you look at it, I see some of the magenta underneath it because it's like sitting on the magenta thing. So I'm looking forward to showing that when I put the color on. It's gonna be cool. This little necklace is definitely darker, and there's a shadow, so it's like darker here. This circle is darker on the outside. There's a little ball here that's just darker on one side. And here is the shadow. like that diagonal. This is darker than I've made it, so I'm going to make that darker. Time is not on my side. The light is going away. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to put some shadows in the drapery here. Okay, so this is part of the handbag, but there is definitely a shadow that's not as dark as the handbag, but is dark here. And where else? Oh, this bottle is also making a shadow. There's a crease here in the fabric. Okay. It's always good to step back from your painting and look at the still life, look at your painting. This is not a finished grisaille painting, but like I said, the light is going away and I need the light in order to paint. So I'm going to paint some more tomorrow. But as I step back and look and I squint my eyes, I can see that the darkest areas are this corner, this U shape, and this blob over here. Those are like we'll call them black. I can make that darker. And then my mid-tone, like a darker mid-tone, is this shape here. And then I see that this whole section here, this bottle, this section, and this handbag, it's almost all the same mid-tone. So I don't want that. I want it to be like, I want my eye to go like kind of all over the canvas. In order to do that, I need to figure out like, am I going to leave this lighter and make this part darker? Am I going to make this shape darker? I actually kind of like how that looks next to this being a little bit darker. What I don't like is this sort of background shape color and this thing. So I think I need to resolve what to do with this purse thing. Maybe either way, like this needs to be lighter or darker, or this needs to be lighter or darker. So it's kind of a big shape though. I don't know what to do. I think I might actually make it lighter. Or make this background lighter. almost feel like making this a little bit darker and making this background even lighter. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So, and I'm gonna try to do it actually right now before the sun totally goes away. Wish me luck. What happens when you don't brush your brush out very well? Also put my glasses on. white. Okay, so that's sort of okay, and then I'm gonna make this one just slightly darker than this. Use a bigger brush. Okay, so when I squint at that, it seems a little bit more balanced, right? There's a little bit more going on. I am gonna make this background even darker because it's gonna be dark. I might have added too much water before, so I do want this to be dark. Of course, once I make this dark, I don't want just that little corner to be super dark, so I'm gonna have to like go and add some other parts that are darker. Okay, there will be more darks when I come back to this tomorrow and I start adding a little bit more detail. Like obviously like in here is going to be darker. This is darker. You know, I'm running out of light and I can't really see the still life anymore. So yeah, so I'm excited to keep working on this tomorrow. Hopefully you'll have a great grisaille underpainting that we can then put color on top of. Okay, good luck.